Hi everyone! Another video. I figured since I got done doing the other one, I'm in the mode of glazing these bowls here, but I may as well do some more. Because next week, as I mentioned, I will be gone. I'm going to Cumberland Lake for a week on our pontoon boat. Hopefully it runs. We've been known to, get towed before. It's the way it is. But anyway, so I'm going to do a video glazing this bowl, and this one's going to be grape hyacinths on the inside. So let's get started. This is Bisqueware. It is B mix 5, cone 5 with grog. So I try to, when I trim it, I try to take a rubber rib and smooth it down. And then I sand it a little bit usually before I glaze it. Try to push some of the grog back down inside. I can feel this rim is a little rough, so I might sand that down a little bit. Sometimes I do these when I'm teaching, and I do them kind of fast. So they're kind of rough sometimes. It's hard to concentrate when you're trying to, I don't know, get people asking you a zillion questions, which is, is why I'm there. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. So let's do some glazing, because I don't know what else to say. It's about 10:30 at night. I'm usually in bed by now. But I had a nap. I fell asleep in the chair, and then I've been drinking this Diet Coke. So I thought, oh, what the heck? I'm awake. So I may as well get some glazing done, because I'm trying to get ready to leave next week. And I don't know. Also, we've been, I don't know, it seems like we've been doing a lot of running this week. And as in my last video, I talked about the zoo. We went to the zoo, and that was fun. I love seeing all the big animals, the elephants. Oh gosh, those things are so big. They're so neat. And the lions and giraffes, and they're just like right there in front of you. So cool. Anyway, so I'm going to lower you down and lower the camera down, not lowering you down. So who knows what I'll be saying at 10:30 at night, because Lord only knows. But the animals are sleeping, so I won't have the dogs barking and carrying on, although I can kind of hear one snoring underneath of me. I think that's Archie snoring. So I'm going to wipe this down. Archie is one of the Yorkies, although he's a hefty Yorkie. He's a full-size Yorkie. He's a big boy. Whew. But we spoil him. We give him treats all the time. Let's see. So I'm going to dip. I'm dipping this is a Diamond Core Tools sponge. These things they're expensive, but they have diamonds, all crushed up in here, and they really are nice. So I wet the sponge and I wet my pot so that there's no dust. I'm just gonna try to take off a little bit in here. I'm going to take a little bit off the rim, because I don't want a rough rim. Usually I take a piece of plastic or leather, and you can kind of, this is going to be loud, like a chamois, and push the grog back into the rim. But sometimes you need extra sanding, and that's okay. I hope you all are doing well. So like I said, this is wet, so it doesn't, see how it sticks on there? It doesn't really, you don't want to breathe this in, obviously. I always have to reassure people that you don't want to sand dry. Clay is toxic, so are the glazes. And it's not like it's not like they're poisonous or anything like that. But the clay has silica in it. Clay and glazes have silica in it, and underglazes do not. But clay and regular glazes do, and silica is tiny, tiny shards of glass. And so when you're dusting, when you're sanding dry, so when you're handling greenware that's dry, or glazes that are dry, or you're sanding when it's dry, you're breathing that into your lungs, and you do not want to breathe the silica into your lungs because it never comes out, and it can be very bad. So okay, let's see. So I'm going to put. Let's see. So I'm using Amico Velvet Underglazes. There are some Speedball here. I prefer the Amico because Amicos do not have as much flux in them. Speedball has a little bit of flux. I'm not sure why they do that. Maybe it helps the flow of them or something, but they can stick to the kiln shelf a little bit easier. So here's my underglazes, and I like to keep them in a bead tray. It has a lid, and then they dry out a little bit, which is good because then they become more concentrated. So I like that. And if I need to mix any, I just use these old lids, and I just mix up what I need. Like if I want to add a little bit of water to them. So I'm going to put some little brown pebbles around here. So I think I am going to add a little bit of water because I don't want them to all be the same color. And so if you add a little bit of water, it kind of, some of it will burn away if it has water in it, So I'll just add just a touch of water. And I don't want it too runny because I don't want it to run. So I think what I'll do, I'm going to do grape hyacinths, and I'm going to just kind of put some pebbles around the bottom. And I like to keep them pretty random. So I kind of go all over. It prevents me from lining them up. In my mind, I want to, I tend to stack them too perfectly, I guess. So if you put them in there random, they kind of stay random. I was just outside earlier after I got done making the other video. There was a bunch of lightning outside, and so I guess somebody's getting a storm just north of us. I kind of wish we'd get a little bit more rain, but we had a pretty good rain the other day, which is nice because it's been a while. My grass and my flowers need water. I don't know how people, it's so scary. My son watches his videos of Lake Mead, where it's half empty. And I don't know what's going to happen when it gets below the operational part of the Hoover Dam. They need some rain so bad, gosh. We need to get somebody out there who can do a rain dance. See, I gotta be careful here. I don't want to make them too perfect. There we go. And I think there'll be different colors too. When it dries, I'll go over it lightly and kind of smear it a little bit, because I don't want the white in between them. So so now I'm going to do the green. Let's see. I think I'll use a thinner brush for the green. And I just buy cheap brushes from, I think these are called the Fine Touch. It's in the Masters. Hobby Lobby always runs them like 50% off. I think it's called the Masters something. But they're just, I don't like the horsehair brushes. They're too fine. Like these look like they're horsehair, but they're really nylon. I want a little bit stiffer brush. But yeah, these are all, these don't even have names on them. But the important brush is when you do the clear glaze, or you're glazing something big. These Mako number 8. I should have stock in these, but no, they don't pay me anything. I just love them so much. They really make it easier when you're putting on clear. I just felt something. Thought I felt something on my foot. Okay. You never know around here. Okay, let's see. Let me get my green back. I filled up my tray since the last time. I went through my underglazes and filled up a bunch of these. So I'm going to add, this is avocado green. And I'm going to add a little bit of this blue. Can you see that? I've got this mix, a little bit of blue, and I think I'm going to add just a little bit of this yellow. And then I'm going to add a little bit of white. There we go. Okay. I'm going to take this brush, like here, I'm going to dip it in water. And I am just going to, just going to go over these rocks a little bit. Because like I said, I don't want them too defined. My doggies are waiting for me to go night-night probably. I'm usually in bed by now. I used to stay up till 2 in the morning glazing, but I don't do that too much anymore. If I had a show coming up, I would probably, but okay. So I blended that in a little bit. So I'm going to go over here a little bit and add some white, some lighter colors here, because I don't want them to be one-dimensional. I think that's good. And I'll go back over them and outline them with my underliner applicator bottle as soon as this is dry. Okay, so now I'm going to do some stems, and I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. I just don't want the stems to all be one color. And some of them do burn out anyway, as much as I try to make them multicolored It's so frustrating when I get them out of the kiln and some of the colors burn out. But if you don't, put them on thick enough, they will burn out. I think this brush is they're going on a little bit thicker than what I prefer. I'm going to try a different brush here. Try a little bit more narrower. You can see that. A little narrower one there. This might be too narrow though, because I like that's working pretty good. But as I was saying, we were just outside looking at the lightning up in the sky. It's so beautiful. I put a reel of it on my Instagram page. I'm starting to learn how to do reels. It's kind of I don't know. It is frustrating when you're looking through your Instagram feed and everything's a reel. It's like, I don't know, it kind of feels like you're on a roller coaster and you just can't get off. And it really annoyed me at first. It was like, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? So I am going to go over each one of these again. I just want to get them in here. I don't know, some people seem to, oh my gosh, they really go out of their way to make reels. Some of them are hilarious, aren't they? I follow mostly potters, artists, like, watercolor artists and mosaic and stained glass. That's really the only people I follow, unless they're friends. Okay, so now I'm going back over them again. I'm tempted to paint this blue and put little fishy down there, but I gotta restrain myself because I tend to put fish everywhere, and I realize that not everybody likes fish as much as I do. But when you're looking inside the bowl and you see little fishy, I don't know, just something about it that makes you want to smile, right? I like to go out in the morning. I have a little fish pond out back. It's just a small, it's only probably 5 feet by 6 feet or something, 7 feet. Yeah, probably 7 feet. Full of goldfish. And I feed them, they love bread, so I feed them pieces of bread. And I love to watch them just swim around. They're so peaceful. Although lately, with it being so hot, my son Chris has a little ferry boat out there, and they hide under the ferry boat. And sometimes we get a frog. We used to have all these frogs. I think those bad old snakes are eating them though. But I know not all snakes are bad, but I don't like when they're eating my frogs and my baby birds. Do not like it. But yeah, a lot of the frogs are gone. There's a baby frog in there now, but yeah, I love to watch them. Sometimes the frogs, they'll sit on the ferry and they'll float around in the pond on the ferry. I think I posted a video of that somewhere. It's cracked me up. I think I hear Archie. He's the Yorkie. I think he's sneaking under my table to sleep. I have a doggy bed under my table. We have 3 doggies. We have Sophie, who's a Brittany. She's the one who thinks she's a goat because she eats all my tomatoes. She eats just about anything. So I have to run out there, and every time I see a tomato that's getting ripe, I have to quick take it off the vine before she finds it and eats it. I keep telling her that she's not a goat, but she's not. She doesn't listen very well. She doesn't listen at all. She's so spoiled. Okay, so I don't know if you can see all the different colors, but there's some blues and yellows in there, and I gotta decide what to do on the outside. I think I might just do some vines. Maybe some vines with I don't know. You know what I'll do just a couple. I think I'll just do a couple sprigs of the flowers. Oops. Trying not to touch the inside because I don't want to smear what I've got in there. I love grape hyacinths. I don't know if you guys are that familiar with them. They're a bulb plant that comes up in the early spring, and they're just little guys. I had some growing in my yard. I dug them up, but I don't know. We have a lot of moles, and the moles are eating all the roots of all the flowers, I think. Because I'm having a really hard time keeping flowers. I don't know if anybody else has problems with that. But we've got so many moles. I spent all this money on flowers, and most of them are gone. Let's see. I think I'll do one more. I wanted that to be fat at the bottom and thin at the top, but okay, and I think what I'm going to do is put just a little bit of I don't know how this is going to turn out. I was going to do just a couple little like rocks around the bottom, but I don't know. I can't say I'm real happy with the look of it. Maybe when I underline them, it won't look so bad. I'll say in my last video how, harsh usually artists are on themselves. We always, you know, tend to criticize our own work pretty much. And I think it's just because, you know, you put so much time and passion into it. And you know how you want it to turn out. Of course, the person buying it, you know, they don't know. You have to remind yourself of that. But it's disappointing when it doesn't come out the way you planned for it to come out. Like these little rocks around here, not maybe it'll be all right. Once I smeared a little bit, so it doesn't look like just brown dots. I'll go back with some water and kind of. There we go. Let's see. So I'm gonna wet my brush. I'm just gonna kind of make sure it doesn't run either. There we go. I'm just watering them down a little bit so that they're a little bit fainter than the ones on the inside. So, like I said, this is B-Mix 5 with grog. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to write on clay that has grog in it. But since I hand build too, I don't want to buy a bunch of different clays. So I just get it with the grog, and the grog makes it much easier to hand build with. You don't have the S-cracks very much, and I really haven't had any S-cracks recently. I think the key is to, once I get them off the bat, is to let them dry slowly. I turn my pots upside down to dry so that the rim doesn't dry out faster than the bottom. And that is a key thing to cracking. It's not really how slow you dry something. It's important to dry it evenly. Okay, I'm spending too much time on that. All right. Okay, so it's getting hot in here. Under these lights are hot. Hot, hot, hot. Okay, so now I need some purples. So I think what I'm going to do is take these blues here and just use this tray. Put some purple on there. I've got a little bit of this. This is actually amethyst, because this is actually a speedball color. When I went to my local clay supplier a while back, they were out of all the Amico velvets, so I had to go to speedball, which is fine. I gotta be careful because these like to stick a little more. So if this was, it's violet, I believe, in the Amico velvets, but it's called amethyst in the speedball. Okay, so I think let's use this brush here. So I'm just gonna mix these up a little bit. Get some blues in there too. There we go. All right. This is the fun part, putting the little dots in there. Can you see that? And since I have these colors all, let me show you this tray. So see that? I have some blues, whites, violet, purple. I have a whole bunch of different colors in there. And that way your little grape hyacinths aren't going to all be one color, because they're not really, all one color. My house is so quiet right now. Maybe I should do videos at night all the time. Everybody's in bed but me. I don't know if you can hear Archie, my Yorkie, underneath the table snoring. I can hear the water flowing in my aquarium. I don't know if you guys can hear that water running. It sounds like that's my aquarium. So I have fish inside the house and fish outside the house. And you don't want your flowers to be all one height either, which I have to be kind of careful that I don't know why, but sometimes it's hard for me to think outside the box. But you really have to force yourself not to make them all one height, because then they're not as interesting. And of course, they don't grow out in nature that way either. So if I have any underglaze left on this lid here, I'll just let it dry up, and then the next time I glaze, I'll just spray it with water and bring it back to life. We're going to head down to the lake tomorrow, the one that's just local, to make sure the pontoon boat runs. I had a lot of work done on it last year, and it's usually my luck that the thing doesn't run. So we're going to test drive it tomorrow. We hardly ever use our pontoon boat. I really wish we'd use it more, but my husband's not a big boater. So we would probably sell it if it wasn't for Christopher. He loves that boat. And I grew up with boats. My father always had a boat. We would go boating every weekend with my dad. It was so much fun. My dad had a big old truck, and my girlfriend and I, we'd lay in the back of the truck on a towel as he was driving down the expressway in our bathing suits to get a tan, Gosh, can you imagine that today? If people were laying in the back of the trucks on the expressway? Oh my gosh. I'm sure somebody would call the police or child services, but back when I was growing up, and we didn't have car seats, or we didn't have seat belts in the cars. I actually fell out of the car once. I don't know what happened. My mother went in the grocery store and left all those kids in the car, me and my 4 brothers. And So, of course, we were playing with the doors while she was in the store. And when she came out, she started up the car and drove down the street. And she went around the bend, and Lisa went flying out of the car into the intersection. I don't know, somehow I survived. Somehow I wonder how I survived with four brothers, but, you know, you grow up to be a little tougher person when you grew up with four brothers. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. What do you think? Yeah, growing up when I did, it's so much different than growing up today. It's so much, I don't know, I think the world's so much scarier now. So many shootings and things. When I was like, 14 or 15, we'd get on the bus, the metro bus, and just my girlfriend and I think sometimes another friend of ours would go. We'd get on the bus and we'd head downtown. We'd walk around downtown and shop for the day. Get back on the bus and come home around dinner time. But gosh, you couldn't do that today. Lord, I mean, I think our world has gotten so much more complicated. Life was much, much simpler when I was growing up. Okay. Almost done. Dabbing these little grape hyacinths on here. They're so easy to do, and they're so much fun. They kind of look like lavender. A lot of people just think they're lavender, but really lavender dots are much smaller. But hey, if you want them to be lavender, then they can be lavender. They can be whatever you want them to be, right? Okay, so I think I hear my other dog walking around. The click, click, click of his toenails on the hardwood floors. Okay, so there's the outside. And there is the inside. So now, when I close these up for the night, what I do is I just give them a little spray. If they're really runny, like the ones I just filled up, they're pretty liquid, so I don't want to give them too much water. I have to remember to pick up my black from where I teach. I left all my black down there. Okay, so set that aside. I'm going to get my Zyme applicator bottle out. I know I've showed this before, but again, this is the Zyme applicator bottle. This is number 20 tip, the yellow one. It says Lisa. Sometimes I take my stuff when I teach to class, and if other people have stuff there, I don't want to get mine mixed up with theirs, so I put my name on stuff. Okay, so I'm going to start on the back, and I don't know if I can pull this a little closer. And I'm just going to loosely go around the little pebbles. And it helps to, when you're doing this on bisqueware, it helps to hold the bottle. See how I'm holding it at really like a almost horizontal? So you're not, if you're doing it this way, you're going to be digging that underglaze. Digging into that underglaze, and then it's going to clog. So you don't want to. And you always want to try and pull it away from you. You don't want to go, you know, this way and then get that underglaze stuck in the tip. So remember to squeeze the bottle as you're drawing so that you're not, you know, the underglaze is coming out as you're drawing, and it helps it from getting clogged. I'm going to go back through here and add some little pebbles. How's everybody loving this heat? It's July 20th today, and we're having a heat wave. So I don't know when you'll be watching this video. If you're watching it in December, for one of the winter months, then you're probably wishing it was hot. I never want to wish away the summer. Summers always seem too short to me because I love to be outside. One of my favorite things is working in the garden, or I love to sit outside and read a book. I love to read books. Especially, I like ones with happy endings. I have a friend, Toni Blake, Toniblake. She's a very good friend of mine, and she writes romance novels, and hers are really good. But I like romance novels. I like happy endings. And some people, you know, I don't know, they don't like those kind of books. But, you know, I always say, you know, if you want something sad, you can watch the news. When I'm reading a book, I want to be taken away from this crazy world we live in. I want happiness. I don't want to, like, I bought this one book that was supposed to be a beach book, and next thing I know, the woman has cancer, which is horrible. And I didn't finish reading it because I don't want to read about somebody. My friend had cancer, and, well, you know, a lot of people I know have had cancer. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. And, gosh, it's not something you want to relive if you don't have to. So, I didn't finish the book. I don't want to read about sadness. Too much of that on the news. I've been trying to not to watch the news as much either. Just too much sadness going on in the world. That's why when I paint my pottery, I want it to be whimsical, you know? I don't know. I want people to look at it and smile. Like, oh, isn't that fun? Isn't that cute? Or whatever. Some of you have sent me pictures of your work. And gosh, it's just beautiful. Oh my gosh. It's like, you know, when you look at other people's work, you know, everybody's is so different. I love looking at all the different styles. I love to cruise Pinterest or Instagram and just look at everybody's work, and it's just gosh, there's so many talented artists out there. Sometimes you have to be careful because sometimes it's very intimidating, and you know, you look at some people's work and you think, oh my gosh, that work is gorgeous, mine sucks. But you really can't think like that because art is very subjective. So, okay, so there you go. So there's one. See how it's outlined? Just very, you know, loosely. Kind of look like stalks of celery, don't they? See how I tend to make them all one height when you really shouldn't. See how these are one's short and tall, and you want them more like that. I don't like when I make them all one height. So let's do the inside. Then we'll be done. I don't know what time it is, but it's much harder when you're doing inside the bowl. Plates are much easier than bowls. I just keep wiping. I have a paper towel over here. I keep wiping my tip on. You gotta be careful you're not smearing the outside. It's probably better to do the inside before you do the outside. But it's hard to remember all that when I'm talking and jabbering. I'm trying to think of things that I should be telling you all. I'm going to, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I clear glaze mine as soon as I'm done. Not as soon as I'm done, but I will clear glaze this before I put it in the glaze kiln. I don't do an added firing. I don't do an extra firing. A lot of people do, but I haven't had any problems with it smearing when I'm putting the clear glaze on. And I think that a lot of that is due to that Mako brush I always show people. I think that's really important when you're applying the clear, especially to get nice and even. You know, you want to get an even layer. So I'm making sure that I'm pulling it away so I'm not clogging the tip. It can get really frustrating when you first start doing this and the tip is always clogging. I don't have as much problems as I used to now that I add a little bit of water to it. And this is the jet black Amico velvet. These bowls always sell pretty well. We're going to do the rocks. One of my favorite potters is Helen Beard. I believe she's, I'm trying to remember if she's from England or not. I have to look it up again. I took one of her online classes. She does bowls, big bowls, and she puts all these people in there, and they're swimming in the ocean. I forget what they call them. They have a name when they swim every day in the cold water there. But she does, oh my gosh, so much detail, and she actually puts like underglaze on newsprint and then lays the newsprint on the bowl and then takes something sharp and transfers the underglaze onto the bowl that way. So she really doesn't even see what she's drawing. It's just amazing. She is just, I love her stuff. Okay, so I'm going to do some little, so there's the rocks done. Now I got to do the grape hyacinths. Look at all those little circles. And you know, you don't have to stay and, you see I got plenty of underglaze left. I don't want to run out of underglaze and have to mix it up in the middle of a video. But you don't have to make, circle every one. So next year, March 2023, the big NSECA conference, I'm trying to think, NSECA, it's the national, I can't remember what they all stand for, but it's basically the national clay group for education. And it's obviously it's the national organization for clay education, and they do a huge conference once a year, and we were supposed to have it a couple years ago here in Cincinnati, and then COVID hit and it was canceled. So now it's coming back March 2023, and it's going to be just downtown, and I will be there. I'll probably be volunteering. But Cincinnati has such a huge clay following. We're the home of Rookwood Pottery, the famous pottery company. They do gorgeous tile. Well, years ago they did gorgeous tile work. A lot of the old houses around here have Rookwood fireplaces. Of course, they're still, making all sorts of functional ware now, but we have one of our clay suppliers here, Queen City Clay. They're one of the largest clay suppliers in the country, and we have them here. They are just an awesome place. And then Core Clay, they're another large clay supplier with lots of classes. And Queen City Clay has tons of classes too. And there's Baker's Hunt over in across the river in Covington. Is that Covington or Newport? I think it's Newport. But anyway, so Cincinnati has a lot of potters. It's a huge pottery. We have a huge pottery group and lots of people doing pottery. I teach at a local rec center here in town. We're just, we're not on a large scale. We're on a very much smaller scale. In fact, I'm the only one running it right now. But yeah, so I don't know how many of you are going to plan on coming to Ensika, but we've already started organizing groups and all these gallery shows at a bunch of different galleries around town, and I'm sure there'll be tours of Brookwood pottery. That's really neat. They have a kiln that has these railroad tracks. This big rack is on railroad tracks, and it rolls into the kiln, and it's a huge walk-in kiln. It's really neat. I took a tour of it a couple years ago. It's an amazing place. So if you've never been to Ensika, you should come. There's lots of fun things that go on. Pottery swaps and get-togethers, and you get a lot of free samples, and I assume all that'll be the same. Alrighty, almost coming to the end here. My hand's getting tired of all these little circles, goodness sakes. Can you hear Archie snoring under the table? That is cracking me up. He always has to be right next to me. Okay, so now I'm going to put some little baby pebbles, little dots. You know me, I've always got these dots in here. I don't know why, but they just add something. The tip of my applicator is starting to get clogged. So if it does, you just take your pin, put it in there if you can still see straight after all that drawing. There we go. I can tell it's getting a little thick. See that blob? It's kind of blobbing out. So it's getting down. There's not a whole lot left in there, so that's why it's doing that. So before I do it next time, I will probably mix up some more. I'll dump some glaze into some jet black under velvet glaze into a little bowl. Add a little bit of water, and then I will sieve it. Now that little sieve there, I bought that through Clayscapes Pottery. I'm sure you can buy them a lot of different places, but okay, so I think that's it. I don't know if I'm going to put anything on the bottom because I usually do, but so that's what it looks like. So I will fire this probably either the end of this week or the early next. Oh, it won't be next week because I'll be out of town when I get back, and I will post the photo of it on the page, on the YouTube page. You'll see it. But really, I mean, it'll look just like this, except it'll be shiny. I'll put a clear, glossy glaze over it, HF9, Amico zinc-free HF9. I'll apply 2 coats and then fire it, and it'll be a little brighter, and it'll just be shinier. But it'll look like that. Since these are underglazes, they don't run. They're basically just clay and pigment. They don't have any flux in them. Well, Speedball has a little bit of flux, but they really don't have much flux. So, anyway, that is it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, I did the same thing the last time. Oh my gosh, it's too late. Sorry about that. I just scared the crap out of you. So, I was explaining the last time, my phone has a new cover on it. I got a new phone, but it has underglaze all over it now. And the case for the phone is, it doesn't hold well in this tripod that I bought. So it falls off. Oh gosh. Oh well, what can I say? Stuff happens, right? All right, well, it's late here, so I'm going to stop for tonight. Tomorrow I will apply a clear glaze to those using my Mako fan brush. Number 8. Make sure it's nice and thick. Don't get one of those chintzy ones. If you buy a different kind, make sure this is nice and thick, because you want to put it down in there like this, load it up, and put a liberal amount gently on there. Just kind of swipe it around. Don't press too hard. Let the first coat dry completely. Then put the second coat on. And then I will fire them to cone 5. And I will post the photo as soon as I get done. This is July 20th. I'll probably have the photo updated on here by August 1st, hopefully, or right around there. And if you could see my phone, I'm looking at my phone right now, and it has underglaze all over the sides, so I have to wash it off. It fell into one of my trays. Oh goodness. If I forgot to mention anything or explain anything, just leave me a comment. I usually am pretty good about answering them. And yeah, I try to answer any question you have. And if you liked it, feel free to subscribe, share it, like it. Helps with all the algorithms and all that good stuff. So anyway, I can see I've gone over an hour, so I better let you go. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the kind comments, and I have one more bowl to glaze, so I'm going to try and think of something different for that one. And what is tomorrow? Thursday? I'll try to do that tomorrow night. So 3 videos in 1 week. Wow. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.